There are so many different types of eating programs out there. And while one program might be great for one person, it may be detrimental for another. So without having to decipher all of these different programs, I've come up with different core principles of nutrition that can help you optimize your health. So here are some of them. Number one, let's look at food as whole food. Food that comes from the ground, food that grows on trees, food that's natural. So really avoiding all of that processed food, packaged food, convenience food. There's really not a lot of life in that food. And if you think about you are what you eat, there's enzymes and live things in foods that are more natural and whole. And with that, you're going to get the most nutrients in your body that are alive and ready to activate your body to put the nutrients to work so that you have more energy, so that your body's processes can work. You can burn fat, so many different things. So number one, eating more whole foods, fruits, vegetables, healthy. If you're going to do meats, making sure that they're grass-fed meats or wild fishes. There's so many different types of meats out there that are grain-fed and poor quality. So really think about quality, and that goes into that second principle. So we want to look at the quality of the food. Think about food as if food is medicine, and you're going to take this pill of a food, and you want to make sure that it's got the most nutrients per food, nutrients per calorie. So when you're eating something like kale, it's very low calorie, but very high nutrient density. There's a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals. It's going to do a lot for your body. So again, that high nutrient density in your foods. Number three, looking at seasonal foods. So the easiest way to look at foods in terms of, well, what's going to be the most plentiful right now? What's going to have the most nutrition? Look at foods that are in season. And when you walk around your grocery store, you're going to see that certain foods are available now where maybe they weren't. So summer foods versus winter foods. And, God is smart because foods that show up at certain seasons, there's a reason for that. Your body is going to utilize those nutrients during those times. If you're unsure, it's really easy to Google what are the seasonal foods in your country or in your area that are happening right now. So you can always Google that search. The next one is making sure that you have a variety of foods in your diet. So if you always stick to eating the same thing every single day, what's going to happen is you're going to have a surplus of these nutrients over here, and then you're going to have a deficit of these nutrients over here. So we want to think about food like an equalizer, where if we're always eating these foods, we need to throw in some of these other foods so that your body is getting all the spectrum of nutrients that it needs. And again, that seasonal eating is a great way to start to rotate. So they kind of go hand in hand. So variety is key, especially if you have symptoms like leaky gut or issues with digestion. Putting these different foods in your body will allow it to learn how to use these nutrients. And again, there are certain food sensitivities and allergies, so there's differences. Obviously, if you have an allergy to something, you're not going to be wanting to have that food. But if it's a sensitivity, chances are, if you introduce it in very small amounts over time, you will start to build up. It's just like going to the gym. You're going to build up that strength in the gut. You're going to activate certain enzymes. You're going to create, it's a microbiome. So you're going to create that healthy environment to be able to handle all the different types of foods and nutrients. The next piece of advice I have for core nutrition principles is to make sure your foods have a proper alkaline balance. So pH balance. If this is another thing you can Google, because if I went through the list of different food right now, it would take a long time. But looking at foods that are alkaline or acidic, making sure that your diet is balanced and that it's not, because most of the time the standard American diet, the SAD, so many people are having very acidic foods, and what that does to the body, it leaches minerals from the bones. It creates a lot of issues in the body, a lot of inflammation. When there's inflammation, your body's trying to put out that fire, and that can create stress on the body. And of course, there's a cascading effect of that. So making sure that you have an alkaline, more alkalizing foods will help balance out that body, balance out your pH so that you don't have the inflammation and your body's not in that state of stress. Another thing about nutrition that's really important is accountability. Do you really know what you're eating throughout the day? You probably forget about that tablespoon of peanut butter you ate, or that extra bite of soup that you ate of your kids that they didn't finish. Whatever it is, if you start to log it, imagine you're in chemistry. I know in chemistry, I remember back in chemistry, if you put one little drop of something in, there could be an explosion. So it's super important you treat your body just like that chemistry set. So understanding those little things that you put in your body, and when you start to log it, you can correlate how you feel with what you're putting in, and you can really start to tune in to your temple. And so understanding that, not only understanding how things affect you, but also understanding how much you're really eating. And when you really look at it on paper, sometimes, wow, you thought you had 1,500 calories when you had 2,500. And over time, that can add up. And, sometimes people gain 10, 20 pounds in a year and they don't know how they did it. But by understanding what you're taking in and putting in your body, you will be certain that you won't have things creep up on you because you'll understand exactly what you're doing with your body. Also, it's super important to trust your intuition. Believe it or not, your body will tell you if you're needing certain electrolytes. Your body will tell you if you need certain nutrients based on what you're drawn to. And you want to look at real hunger cues versus cravings. There's a difference there. So a craving, let's just say you can't stop thinking about it and nothing else is going to satisfy it except for this one thing. That tends to be a craving, and you're probably looking for an emotional response, more of a feeling in the body. Where if you're just leaning into those hunger cues and really feeling like, you might need more iron, you might need more salt. There's other ways to get it. People tend to reach for like chips, but you could do crunchy cucumber, put some Celtic sea salt on it, get that same fix that you would get if you lean on a chip, and get so many more nutrients and everything else that comes with eating healthy and leaning into your intuition and cues. And the last one I'm going to talk about today is enjoyment. So with all that said, you obviously need to enjoy what you're eating. And we can train our palate. So over time, the more you eat healthy, the more your body's going to crave some of those healthier foods. However, if you're going to go to a birthday party or a wedding or some sort of celebration, allow yourself to have what you want without the guilt. Because if you have it and you know that you're celebrating and this isn't something you're doing all the time, stay present in that moment, enjoy the food, let go of the guilt, because when you enjoy something, you're in a state of gratitude. When you're in a state of gratitude, your chemical responses to this food are going to be so much different than if you're, unsure about having it and you feel like guilty. That's going to create that chemical response that actually will create the issues that you're afraid of with that food. So remember to enjoy. And hopefully these tips really help you. If you love these tips, I have so many more to bring to you each day. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And also, you can click the link below to download my free 7-day program and go to my website, www.sherriecarnicle.com, for so much more information. Excited to be here with you on this journey.